Welcome to That Guy Talks Movies. On this episode, it's more That Guy Talks Entertainment, latest entertainment news. Now, I have said on this channel previously that I would look to do entertainment pieces and a few things that were relative to usually film related and related to that industry, of course, television, stuff like that, streaming services, different videos, whatever. But I am compelled to talk about this current situation involving Diddy. Yep. By now, you've probably heard news. You've probably seen all the headlines, all the clickbait videos, and all of the details and such, or the details as they've been put out to us regarding Diddy and them raiding his homes on both coasts. That's crazy when you get raided on both coasts. It's not even one at a time. It's just both. All right, Miami and LA, they raided his home. And I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to do, now he's done movies, so technically this could be slightly related, right? Let's just get into this. This won't be a long video, but I did want to discuss it. I wanted to do a live and see how that would work out. I haven't really set up for a live, so I didn't really want to take time, and I kind of wanted to get this video out of the way. I wanted to talk about it, and so I will look to do some live stuff later on at some point. Hopefully by, I don't know, within a week or so, I can get my live thing set up. I just want it to be a certain way. I want it to look right. I don't want to just rush it, but I will continue to bring certain bits of entertainment news and such as they relate to current stories and trending things, preferably mostly film related and television related, streaming related content. But let's get into this Diddy thing right now. So the news, Diddy, let's just back up for a second. I don't want to give an entire history on this. If you've been, unless you've been living under a rock, you know that Diddy's facing a shitload of problems, legal issues. Most of them, all of them up until yesterday have been civil. There hasn't been criminal charges filed against this man in any court, right? That hasn't happened. And I made a comment about that on my social media pages previously. The idea that these are all civil things, right? He settled the one with Cassie, his former girlfriend, former lover, whatever. And that was settled for like $30 million in whatever amount of time. There was no admission of guilt. Again, a settlement does not always indicate, I should say, let me change the language there. It can indicate an admission of guilt by the parties who are settling, correct? Like we would assume and we would sort of make that inference. We would, through deductive reasoning, we might come to that conclusion that a person must be guilty if they settled. I just want to point out that that's not always the case. And there have been plenty of cases in the past where people have settled, whether it's from corporations, settling with in class action suits, or all sorts of things where people have gone the route of settling rather than go through lengthy court battles. It does not always mean you're guilty, so you might as well just get it over with and pay. Not the case. Now, with Diddy, he's gone through this whole thing and there's all these allegations. The most scathing and the most salacious allegations brought against him so far were from that case with Little Rod, right? Rodney, whatever his name is, right? Producer that worked with him and all these things on a Love album. And there were all these allegations of sexual abuse, sexual misconduct. All these things came out about other artists, all sorts of rumors and things regarding homosexuality and different situations that Diddy has put people in, different artists, and how he runs his bad boy Diddy lifestyle and empire. There is a shit ton of salacious material there. And I want to quickly touch on that before I even move into the current things that are happening or the things that took place, the events that took place yesterday, which led to this video. With all of that video content that's been alleged to be out there, right? So apparently there are videos of Diddy's freak offs and freak parties and all these different wild sexcapades and things that took place in multiple residences, and I'm assuming around the world, with different girls and all sorts of things in studios. Lifestyle of a baller, of a rap star, right? Rock star at that. All those allegations, there hasn't been a single leaked video, and I'm really kind of shocked at that. I'm shocked that there has not been a video to come out yet. Something, we would see something. We all know in this digital age where cameras are all over the place. Apparently Diddy had cameras all over his estate, all different, whatever. Who had cameras, who had cell phones? I have no idea. But I would imagine at this point in this day and age, it's pretty easy. If there is footage out there, it would have been leaked by now. We would have seen something. So I'm curious as to when that's going to surface. My personal take on it, am I saying to you that I don't believe that footage? I'm sure it's there. I'm just wondering who's managing it and who's doing the job of keeping it under wraps. And whoever's doing that, however they got that locked down, they're doing a great job, because there's not been one single iota of footage yet that's been leaked. Now, on YouTube, you'll find plenty of clickbait videos, and you'll see the thumbnails, and it shows Diddy kissing Usher and kissing this one and making out with this one and getting it on with that one and bending over a chair with this one. But I suspect most of that is spurious from my investigation. And from what I've seen, that hasn't happened, right? You're looking at Photoshop and AI video and AI pictures of stuff. I have not had confirmation, and no one has had confirmation of video footage that's been leaked where Diddy's doing all this homosexual stuff and being involved with people or underage girls. Now, these charges and a lot of the things are serious, including a homicide charge with him and his son, Justin Combs, in LA, getting rid of somebody. It was a fight in a bathroom. There's all this. If you want to read the report, I'm not going to go through the whole thing with you, but if you want to read the actual legal case filed in the Southern District, you can go ahead. It's available online. That was one filed by Little Rod. And there's all sorts of stuff in that implicate murder and cover-ups by the LAPD and all sorts of things going on. I don't want to dive into that whole thing and all the conspiracy that could be behind that, and how the record executives and who's controlling what at Arista and sex blackmail scandals and all sorts of things. I'm not going there. I'm going to save that for another video, because there are a few things I do want to touch on when it comes to such type of material. But I'm just pointing out that there's a lot of stuff, a lot of criminal stuff that's been alleged, and a lot of things in those legal documents that spell a really bad case for Diddy. That much I will say. But regarding yesterday's federal takedown of his two residences, right? His Tony residences in LA and Miami. Regarding that, I started to see on YouTube all sorts of stuff. You know, it's clickbait. I get it. Totally understand it. But Justin Combs and the other Combs, whichever, his boys, arrested. Not arrested. Let me clear. Now, as of this time, right now, I'm doing this video on Tuesday. It is, and I'm on the East Coast in New York, and it is about 10 minutes after 1. There's been no arrest. What you saw on the video camera from the helicopters and TMZ, what they put out, and all the different media sources that put out stuff about people being in cuffs, they weren't arrested. They were placed in cuffs. Typically, that is a strategy that is employed by law enforcement, whether it's DEA, the feds, the local police, maybe not the local police, but definitely the feds and like DEA agents and CIA and such, right? When they go and they do a raid of that nature, especially with that many officers, that much enforcement actually descending upon those two homes like that, they usually get people in the home. They find who's who. They don't ask questions. They may not know who's who and what's going on. It's not as if there was a warrant for the arrest of Justin Combs or King Combs or whatever Combs, right? There was no warrant for that. They had a warrant, whatever they had, to seize property and to go and search his homes for whatever, but there was nothing about arresting these people. They were there. They were in the home. Several people were put in ties and cuffs. I don't even think they were cuffs. They may have been those twist ties just to detain them, and they may have questioned them. Perhaps they were questioning about certain things regarding access to the estate, regarding access to certain areas of the state, regarding allowing them to talk, to incriminate things or say some incriminating things or to give details on things. They do that to people. So perhaps that's what was going on there. Maybe they were asking about where Puffy was, because as we know, which we will get to in a second, Puffy wasn't even there. So these kids were not arrested. They were not arrested. What thing really, really irks me and makes me want to get into the space of like just podcasting daily and talking about things of this nature are when people go like they hear one thing and they go right down a rabbit hole and they just say, oh, the kids were arrested, and it spreads like wildfire all over the internet and no one bothers to pay attention to a single thing and they just believe it's true. It's kind of like, not to go on a tangent, but about a week or two ago, there were all these false things that Dave Chappelle signs a $2 billion deal with CBS. No one bothered to even look it up or figure it out if it was true, what the details are, what the contract looks like, when it was solidified, when it's going to go into effect, how the actual money, like it wasn't even true at all. It was totally fake news. So this thing about the kids being arrested hasn't happened. Let's move on now. As for Diddy's whereabouts, apparently latest in Miami, he's at some airport or whatever. His plane was somewhere else, I think in Antigua, and he was like wandering around there. I guess they're trying to figure out what to do. Obviously not been arrested. He hasn't been arrested. all this stuff, all these things and these videos of people in the headlines and all of the social media posts and the exaggerated headlines of they're coming for Puffy. They're going to get Puffy. If they wanted this man arrested, they would have arrested him yesterday. Yesterday, he would have been in cuffs and you would have been seeing the mugshot this morning. Understand that. If they wanted this man arrested, if they had something to arrest him, believe me, they would have done it. They raided his 2 homes. That could be the beginning of the end for him. I agree with everyone on that one. This seems like they have made a case and they are going to town and they're trying to get this guy. Now, let's talk about for a second the idea of, or the legal stuff when it comes to sex trafficking, right? So first of all, you hear sex trafficking. What is sex trafficking? What is that? Right? Is what it sounds like? Trafficking, human trafficking, sex trafficking, human trafficking for the purpose of sexual exploitation. It has been called a form of modern slavery because of the way victims are forced into sexual acts non-consensually in a form of sexual slavery. Perpetrators of the crime are called sex traffickers or pimps. People who manipulate victims to engage in various forms of commercial sex with paying customers. Sex traffickers use force, fraud, or coercion as they recruit, transport, and provide their victims as prostitutes. Now, consider this. All the people around Diddy. I don't think Diddy was procuring little girls and prostitutes, and he was the one out there hustling to find women. I think that was something that was being done around him, which would make him obviously, guilty in the same regard, right? Guilty by association, guilty by after the fact, before the fact. True. I think what happened yesterday was a matter of searching for evidence, searching for laptops, searching for financial records, receipts, searching, which really, didn't anyone watch, what movie was that? Yeah, no receipts, Casino. They're looking for video evidence, the stuff I was talking about earlier in this video, possibly, right? Hardcore evidence. When I mean hardcore, I don't mean the content of the tapes. I mean solid evidence, tangible evidence, videotapes, laptops, computer files, disk drives, whatever it might be, flash drives. That's probably what they were looking for, right? And this trafficking thing, sex trafficking, is probably more about the people around him. Let's move into the Epstein thing for a second, because he was arrested for pretty much the same thing. Like, they built a case against Epstein and they came after him. He was arrested in 2006, 7, I believe, or 8. That was like prostitution, soliciting a prostitute and like minors. And he was gone like back and forth with the authorities. And I don't want to get into a long thing about that because there's so much more to be dealt with there as far as conspiracies and him being a CIA operative and all these different things. So I don't want to go there, but his case was slightly different because he had pleaded guilty to soliciting prostitutes and underage things, and Ghislaine Maxwell working with him and getting prostitutes. It was a big case that was built over a period of time, numerous years. This trafficking, sex trafficking, what Diddy is actually being investigated for right now, there's probably much more to come. I wanted to update my take on this and update the record for those of you who would get to see this video when it shows up on YouTube. And hopefully this goes as viral and gets as many people watching it as all the clickbait videos that are out there now with people talking and doing live streams. Oh, he's been arrested. Now, he hasn't been arrested. Like I said, since I started taping this video, I will find out. Let me see. Let's just double check. Maybe in the time I'm taping this, he's been arrested. Nope. He's not been arrested yet. The kids haven't been arrested. This is all news regarding the actual home being searched amid allegations. People, we got to chill out, right? I'm tempted to go down the route of discussing what conspiracies could be at place here, who Puffy pissed off and why they're coming after him. And if this is all a setup, if this is all a matter of karma and things coming to do, is it just, or is it a matter of, yes, he's been a bastard who has abused women and raped and done all this stuff and messed with underage girls, and he's got his time coming to him if that's the case. I'm not going down the lane, if you will, of, oh yeah, he's guilty, he's done, he did it, no more Diddy, I'm gonna stop listening to my Biggie albums and No Way Out, and it's over, and fuck Black Rob and Mace. I never liked them anyway. Like I'm not going down that road. From a legal standpoint, I like to see how things play out. I like to see how things happen. You know, Russell Brand recently, my boy Russell over in London, was recently charged with all sorts of, actually, I shouldn't even say the word charged. There were allegations brought up in a media, in a paper against him, and all sorts of sexual misconduct and rape and all sorts of things. The whole thing went nowhere. It was nothing but an attempt to smear Russell Brand because he has become an independent voice in media and journalism, and he's done a really good job at revealing a lot of the things that the legacy media seems so fit to kind of keep under wraps and to, you know, when they do their own thing, right? So I don't want to talk too much about that, but that was a whole smear campaign against Russell Brand. It never went anywhere. And it was the same thing. It was more about this person said this, unknown person said that, Jane Doe said this, and this is what he did. Never anything legal, criminal, like really came out of that. Nothing surfaced. So with Diddy, I think I will say in concert with the rest of the voices, I believe this looks bad. I think it is bad. I think where there's smoke, there's fire. I will say that. I simply will not go down the rabbit hole of making the assumption that he's, you know, everyone's been arrested. This one's been arrested. Let's hype it all up. And yeah, he's going down. He did this and did that. And we know he did it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait to see how this plays out like the rest of y'all. And y'all should do the same thing. You know, in this day and age of everyone has a voice and everyone has something to say online, on their page, you can do what you want. People just come to conclusions, and there's an upside to that. There's also a terrible downside to that. And, you know, a lot of things happen in the public eye now. You know, years ago, prior to the internet, prior to social media, when the media or entertainment industry was selling a particular brand or selling a particular narrative about its celebrities, about its stars, back when the studio system existed in Hollywood and you had actors and they had narratives that were actually organized and orchestrated in order to promote movies. And they still do it now. It was just more of a thing back then. You only had those people pushing it, and that was it. And the general population, we just took whatever we saw on those few media outlets that were out there, newspapers, magazines, and television. Now you've got a billion podcasts. Everyone's got a YouTube channel, including myself. You know, everyone's got a social media page, TikTok, Facebook, this, that, Twitter, whatever it is, Instagram, and everyone lends in a thing. And when you have a groundswell of people all saying the same thing, everyone's hating, because it does, I mean, it is bad, right? Like we want to despise a person of that nature. A person who's been accused of those things. We want to do, like, I don't think anyone would be like, oh, it's okay, it's nothing bad. No, all this shit that this guy's been accused of is horrendous, and we would want to see justice for this, right? But at the same point, that also eliminates objectivism. It eliminates an objective perspective. It eliminates details and facts and really checking things out. And things just start to go viral. And before we know it, we're in this situation. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough about this. Again, this is a channel that talks about movies, but I am compelled and rather have an internal thing that tends to lend itself to entertainment news and doing things of this nature. So you might expect more of this from me. Who knows? Tell me to shut up. Tell me maybe I shouldn't do more of this. I'm not good at it. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know in the comments below about your thoughts on this whole Diddy thing, where it's going, what you think. I don't know whether you care or not. Maybe you don't. You know, what you think about the court of public opinion, social media, your voice being heard, my voice being heard, what you think about what I said. Let's talk about it in the comments below. More to come on this. We'll see what happens. Maybe by the time I'm done taping this and putting it on YouTube, maybe he'll be arrested. All the charges will be verified. The tapes will be all shown and all the evidence will be right there staring, you know, in our face. And then I'll have to come back on here, do a retraction or at least update on the situation to make it right. We'll see what happens. All right. Much love to everybody. If you have not subscribed to this channel and you kind of like, hey, what this guy's talking about, or the way this guy does his shit, whatever, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I truly appreciate that. Hit the like button on the way out. If you've not hit that like button already, I really appreciate that. The people who stay with me, the people who actually follow me, who know when I have a video out, who actually comment and like and actually engage with me, I really appreciate you. Whether you agree with me or not on things, I just like having you around. It's really good. It's a good thing we have a dialogue and we can talk. So I will see you on the next That Guy Talks Movies. I'll probably be talking movies again, but we'll see. All right. Keep in touch. I'll see you soon. Peace.